Hey guys, I'm Luke with Savage Games, and today we're going to be looking at Craft and Conquer Medieval. This is our brand new strategy war game that's coming to Kickstarter. You should be viewing this video on Kickstarter anyways, so let's get started. Today we're going to do a how-to of how to set up for a two-player game and how to play the first couple of rounds. So let's get started. First off, we're going to go ahead into our manual here and we're going to go and find a layout that we want to do. These are alternative layouts, or you have the primary layouts here. We'll probably do this one, which is just a standard two-player layout because we're doing a two-player game. All right, so we have tiles here and we're going to go ahead and lay them out, but first we've got our starting player tiles. So we're going to place one right down there and we're going to then go ahead and build out the rest of the tiles. Now, these tiles are double-sided, so you can pick whatever side you want. Kind of like the look of this water tile. So let's go ahead and place that one right there. Perfect. And then we'll do that one like that. And let's place one more over here. Now this is kind of a staggered two-player layout, but that should be fine. There we go. So player one and player two, or vice versa. Now the next thing we want to do is pick our faction cards. Now these faction cards come, well, there's a variety of them, and they're asymmetrical, so they're all different. They start with different components, so depending on who you get, you have a different ability at the bottom and different components to start with. So I think we're going to start with the Ranger Nation on one side, and we'll start with, let's see, probably the Woodlanders on the other side. I think that would be a good fit, a good match. So let's go ahead, let's get those set up. What we want to do is we want to look at both the components that they start with and also make a note of their ability at the bottom. So let's do that. Starting with the Ranger Nation, looks like they get 5 coins. So we'll go ahead and grab 5 coins and we'll set that out there. And they also get 2 peasants. Now they'll be the red team. So let's go ahead and set out the red team here. There we go. And they also get 1 village and 1 farm. Now we have village tiles. These are the village tiles down here, and they are double-sided, the same on both. Those are the farm tiles, excuse me. And then the village tile is actually a quarry on one side and village on the other. So we'll place that one there. And they only need 1 craft point. So we'll go ahead and grab 1 craft point, put that there for them. And now the red player, who is the Ranger Nation, they are all set. Next, we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the Woodlanders. So they also get 5 coins and 2 peasants. So they are the blue. So we'll set up 2 peasants for them. There we go. And then they get another farm and a village. So pretty much the same thing. These guys are symmetrical in that sense. However, their abilities are definitely non-symmetrical. Also, they have different soldiers. So these guys start with archers. These guys start with a crossbowman. So what happens next is that each player will go ahead and lay out their pieces. So first, they'll want to go ahead and apply the base plate onto their soldier, just like that. It's a friction fit, fits right into the bottom, and we'll go ahead and place that in a second. The red team, the red player will do that too. There we go. And now we'll go ahead and place out our farms. So this guy is going to go ahead and place out right here, this player, and he's going to put his peasants on top of his settlements. That's because that's how you gather resources throughout the game. Likewise, this guy over here, this player, is going to go ahead and place out his settlements and his peasants. And then they're going to both deploy their soldiers. Now, he's going to deploy his crossbowmen. You must deploy all soldiers adjacent to a settlement. Doesn't matter which one, but you can only deploy 1 per settlement per turn. Now that we have all that set up, let's go ahead and give the Ranger Nation over to the red player, and he'll have his components over there as well. Perfect. And we'll go ahead and get the Woodlanders, and they'll have their components there. All right, now, what's next is that we deal out objective cards to each player. So before the game even starts, you're going to go ahead and deal out 3 objective cards to each, just like so. And you're going to deal out 2 action cards. 1, 1, 2, and 2. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and look at these objectives. First, we are going to look at the objectives and action cards for the Woodlanders, for the blue team. They have defeat an archer, capture a settlement, and defeated and archer. So there's 2 defeated and archers. There's 1 captured, a settlement. Those are pretty good objective cards. Those cards are fairly easy, and that can be indicated by the cheapness of the points. So the name of the game, obviously, is to collect enough points by the time you have completed the last objective that you have chosen to complete. Right here, these 3, they would only give you 8 points. Now, on top of that, he also has the double speed ability, or the double speed action card. That allows him to literally double the speed of a single unit. Now, you're probably wondering, how are units moved and how do they attack and defend throughout the game? Let's go ahead and look at that. First, we're going to go and observe the movement die. This die has a 2 through 6 with 2 3s, and this is how you move across the board. So you go ahead and roll it, you see what number you have for that unit, and you can go ahead and move it that number of spaces. So that's how you can move throughout the game. Now also, we're going to go ahead and look at the last action card before we get any further. We have the attrition, and this particular card is really cool. It says you may discard this card to choose an enemy player. They are not allowed to perform any attacks on their next turn. That is a fantastic card. You can stop your opponents from attacking. It is a wonderful card, and I have used it many times in making sure that I'm not going to be attacked on their next turn, or on my next turn, really. Okay, so now that we know what he's got, let's go ahead over and look at the opponent's cards. Now, the next cards we'll look at are for the red team, and he has defeated 2 archers, discarded 15 coins, and upgraded to a knight. Now, some of these are pretty easy. The upgraded to a knight, that's just, matter of fact, you could probably do it on your second turn, by your second turn. But also, this one's not too difficult, just discarding coins. Unfortunately, though, that means that you're discarding a lot of resource, because 15 coins can help you buy a lot of resources. Now, this one is in particular very difficult, defeating 2 archers, because you have to defeat it in 1 turn. So, unfortunately, that's a difficult card, but he can go ahead and draw new cards every turn, so maybe he'll find that he doesn't want to keep that one, or maybe he'll find that he can do it easily. We'll see. Now, he also has reinforcement, which allows him to get 1 new tier 1 soldier, and he also has the misdirection, which pretty much allows him to roll a movement die and move an enemy unit, an enemy soldier, in another direction on his turn. Actually, that is on someone else's turn. So during someone else's turn, he can be like, you know what? I don't want that enemy to come in closer. I'm going to send him the other direction. So that's a pretty handy action to use. We're going to go ahead and put the cards back, and we'll get started with the game. So how you determine who goes first is by a simple roll of the die. So this will be for the red team, and this will be for the blue team. The blue got 2, and the red got only 1, so the blue go first. That's how you normally determine who goes first during the game. All right, now, let's see what's next. We're going to go ahead and start the blue's turn. First thing he's going to do is remove his 2 peasants. When he does, that allows him to gather the resources. So we're going to see that on his village, he gets a horse, a craft point, and 2 wood. So we're going to get the craft point, we're going to get the wood, and we're going to go ahead and grab a horse. Now he's got that right over here, and we're going to go ahead and put his stuff right here. There we go. Now on the farm itself, he only gets an iron and a wood. Now, one more thing to mention with either one of these, the quarry, the village, or the farm, is that they have these little symbols in the center of the settlement. Those symbols, those round circles, represent the taxes or the coins that you can collect. So as you can see, the blue team, he would get 3 coins from a village and 2 coins from a farm. So he'd get 5 more coins. So we'll go ahead and get a 5 coiner there. There we go. Now the next thing we'll do is determine what we want to do for the blue player. So he's got all these resources at his disposal. What does he want to do? Well, we're going to go ahead and look at the cheat sheet. That gives us a really good representation. We'll see that there are ranged soldiers, melee soldiers, resources that can be traded, and arrows, ammo, if you will, that can be purchased, peasants, and also settlements. And so as we can determine, I think that he wants to probably craft a settlement, considering he had the craft a settlement objective. So he's going to go ahead and look at settlements there. And we can see that a farm only costs 10 coins, and 1 craft point. Now he has 2 5-coiners, so he's going to go ahead and gather those 5 coins up, and he's going to go ahead and gather 1 craft point. We'll scoot this down so you guys can see it. There we go. And so he's got 5 coins, 1 craft point, and he's going to go ahead and trade that in for a settlement. So we're going to put the coins back in the resource pile and the craft point in the resource pile. He's going to go ahead and grab a new settlement, the farm, which is a tier 1, and he's going to place it on the board. Now, he has to place it within his kingdom. Now, you're probably wondering, what's a kingdom? Well, a kingdom are these 2 tiles and your starting player tile. So these 2 tiles are here, this one, and this is your starting player tile. So you're going to go ahead after every game, or during every game, you can place stuff in your kingdom as far as your settlements and deployment of soldiers go, and then you can move your soldiers out and beyond once you're ready. So let's go ahead, let's place the new settlement. He's probably thinking over here, they must be at least 2 spaces apart. And now he's thinking, ooh, I need 1 more peasant, because he only has 2 at his disposal, and he now has 3 settlements to collect from. So he's going to go ahead, using the cheat sheet, he's going to trade in 2 resources for 2 coins, and then he's going to buy a peasant for 2 coins. So we'll just trade in the 2 resources. We got those coins, we'll get a new peasant. So now he is ready. So what he'll do first is he'll take his movement die, and he's going to go ahead and roll that movement die. And he's got a 3, so he's going to move his archer 3 spaces across the board. 1, 2, and 3. Hiding right behind a lovely mountain so that he can't get shot too easily. And that's going to be his turn. So the blue guy is all set. He's like, yep, I am all set. I have gone ahead and I have claimed an objective. The crafted settlement objective has been claimed by the blue team. So he's going to go ahead and reveal that at that time. He's going to tell everyone about it, and he's going to say, I completed an objective. He's going to place it face down on the board so that everyone can see that he completed an objective. Now, let's go ahead and end his turn. His turn ends when he goes ahead and places peasants on the settlement. So he's going to go ahead and place these peasants just like so. And there he goes. His turn is complete. Now it's the red player's turn. Now it's the red player's turn, and the first thing he's going to do is remove his peasants as well. And he's going to look, and he pretty much gathers the same thing. So he's going to get a horse, and he's going to get 2 wood, a craft point, another wood, another iron, and then looks like 5 coins. So he's got all of these resources as well, pretty much similar to the blue player. Now the red player is thinking of something different. If we go ahead and look at his action cards or his objective cards, we're going to see that he wants to upgrade to a knight. But he also needs to defeat some archers, but he has to defeat 2 at the same time. So he doesn't want to defeat that archer yet. He wants to probably focus on getting a swordsman so that he can upgrade to a knight, because that is one of his actual objectives. So he's going to go ahead and do that. We'll place all 3 objectives down for now, and we will go ahead and look at the cheat sheet. Now that's going to tell us that a melee soldier, it costs us 1 peasant, so we use a peasant to hire or train them into soldiers. So it's going to cost us a peasant, and then it's going to cost us 1 wood, 1 iron, and 5 coins. So let's go ahead and gather that. We have 1 wood, and he's got 1 iron, he's got 5 coins, and he's got a peasant. So he can go ahead and shift his peasant back over to the resource pool for his peasants and bases, and he can go ahead and pay those particular resources. And now he's purchased a swordsman. Now you have to deploy them next to a settlement, remember. Now because you already had a soldier deployed, because it was your first turn, you can ignore the 1 soldier per settlement deployment rule. If you want to deploy her on the same settlement as the original soldier, that's fine. But all other turns moving forward, you can only deploy 1 per settlement. Now at this point, you're probably thinking, oh, well, does he have enough to just upgrade to a knight? That way he can claim that objective? Well, unfortunately, no, because you can't upgrade soldiers that you crafted and deployed in the same turn. So he's going to have to wait till his next turn, which is going to be a little bit of a bummer for him, but it's okay. He's willing to wait. However, he does see a need to kind of get close to that archer, so that if that archer moves in range, next turn he'll be able to get in range and get him as well. So let's go ahead and move that soldier. Now, I'm moving just 2 spaces. Why? Well, that's because, remember how I told you our movement die has a minimum of 2? That means that instead of rolling, I can just choose. I'm going to move 2 spaces. However, he wants to move his crossbowman, and he wants to get that crossbowman in range so that maybe he can shoot at the blue player's archer, so he's going to roll, and he got a 2. Ouch. So he's going to take his 2, and he's going to go 1, 2. Now, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's out of range, and it's potential that there's a mountain in front of him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, because there is equal number of spaces on the clear path and on the obstructed path by mountains, he can choose the clear path. So he would be able to go ahead and engage that archer if he had the distance. Unfortunately, the crossbowmen do not. The crossbowman's limited distance, or max distance, is 5 spaces. So the crossbowman can't actually go ahead and perform an attack at this time. So the red player's kind of bummed, but he's also set up really well for next turn. So the red player is going to go ahead and end his turn. However, he used the peasant for his soldier recruitment. So he's going to have to buy a new peasant. That's 2 coins. He's got a 5 coiner, so he's going to trade it in, get a 3 coins back, and he's going to get that peasant back. And then he's just going to place him on his settlements, and his turn is completed. Now, it's back to the blue player. Well, the blue player sees a good opportunity. He's like, if I can get in range of that crossbowman or that swordsman, I'll be able to possibly shoot them. However, that's not his objective. But at the beginning of your second turn and moving forward, you get to draw new objective cards. So he drew a new objective card, and he drew a new action card. Now, the action card, he has to think, does he want to trade it for any of the others? We can see right here that the action card Kidnapped is the new drawn card, and Attrition and Double Speed are his old action cards. Now, he likes both of them, but he thinks that Kidnapped would be a better option, because Kidnap means that he gets to capture someone's peasant, which means that he'll be able to claim an extra objective point at the end of the game. So he's going to go ahead and discard the Attrition card. He's going to keep the Kidnapped card, and he gets to keep the objective card because he already completed one. But that one says defeat 2 swordsmen. So now he's got some choices. Does he wait, or does he engage, hoping to be able to defeat 2 swordsmen next turn, or defeat 1 swordsman this turn? Well, the blue player does have a few things he's got to do first. He's got to pull off his peasants, and he's got to gather his resources. But this time, he gets to gather a lot more, because he has an extra settlement. So he actually gets to collect 4 wood, 2 iron, a horse, and a craft point. That's a lot more resources than last time. Plus, he gets 2 coins, and 3 coins is 5, plus 2 more is 7. So now he gets to collect 7 coins or taxes because of that extra settlement, making him more income. Now he's got a lot of resources on the table, and he's thinking, I can do a lot with these resources, so what am I going to do? Well, he's thinking, okay, I can try to defeat the swordsman, but before I try defeating a swordsman, let's go back to that handy cheat sheet, and we'll see that he could upgrade to a crossbowman, which is super exciting. So that's 5 coins, 1 wood, 1 iron, 1 craft point. He does have a craft point. He's got 1 iron and 1 wood, and he does have 5 coins. So he will go ahead and trade in those coins and trade in those resources, and he'll be able to craft a crossbowman. And we'll just slap the base on the crossbowman and swap it out. So when you upgrade a soldier, you swap it out with the one that you're upgrading. Now he's ready to move, so he's going to go ahead and he's going to roll that movement die, and he gets a 6. Oh my goodness, that is a fantastic roll. So he's going to go ahead and move 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And he's going to stop right there. Why? Because he's now in range of the swordsman. He doesn't care about the crossbowman too much. He wants to take out that swordsman. He wants to defeat it. Why? Because he's worried that it could turn into something much greater next turn. Knights are a powerful soldier. So he needs to decide how he wants to take it out. Well, first, he's going to go ahead and he's going to craft an arrow. So he's going to look at the cheat sheet again, and it tells us that he can buy a standard arrow, which is just for standard use, for a 1 coin and 1 wood. However, crossbowmen only have 4 dice to roll, but if he uses a flaming arrow, he can have 5 dice to roll. So he's going to go ahead and spend the 3 coins and 2 wood, so he's going to have to trade in 1 resource for an extra coin, and he's going to put the last 2 coins in, and the 2 wood, and he's going to be able to get a flaming arrow. And we've got these awesome flaming arrow tokens. Now he is ready to engage and attack that swordsman. Now, how is he going to do that? He is going to use these attack dice. We also have the defense dice and a swordsman. A swordsman will defend with 3 dice, so he'll get 3 dice. But because the crossbowman had that flaming arrow, he gets 5 attack dice. So we'll go ahead and roll the 5 attack dice first. And we can see here that we actually got a fantastic roll. It looks like we've gotten 2, 4, 6. Now, let's go ahead and scoot those off to the side, and let's see what the swordsman got. Now, the swordsman, unfortunately, only got 3. One of those is a counterattack, but that's only if he wins the engagement. He didn't win, so he's lost. Unfortunately, the swordsman has been taken out, so he is removed from the board. And the winning player, the blue team, the blue player, he gets craft points according to the tier of the soldier. That was a tier 1 soldier, so he only gets 2. If it was a tier 2 soldier, he would get 4, and if it was a tier 3 soldier, he would get 6 craft points respectively. Now that the blue player is all set, he thinks he's doing well, everything's going fine. He's like, you know what? I'm going to stop right there. I didn't claim any objectives, but I did surely take somebody out, and that felt really good. And so he's super happy with that. So the blue player wants to go ahead and put his peasants back on his settlements, but before he does that, he is going to use his awesome kidnapped action card. That would allow him to capture the enemy's peasant of his choice. So he's going to go ahead and remove that enemy peasant from his village, which is worth more because that village can produce more resources. So now he's really crippled the red player. Now he can go ahead and put his peasants back on his settlements, and now it's the red player's turn. Now the red player is going to go ahead and draw a new objective card and a new action card. Now the red player has drawn a captured a peasant objective and flaming arrows action card. Now he's going to have to decide what he wants to trade them out with. Looking at his objective cards, he sees that he's got this defeated 2 archers, and he knows that that's going to be too difficult, so he's going to go ahead and discard that right there. So he's going to keep the captured a peasant objective card. Now he's thinking he probably wished he had that kidnapped action card so that he could capture the peasant and claim an objective for it. Now we're going to look at his action cards, and we'll see that he had misdirection and reinforcements. Flaming arrows sound pretty good considering he has a crossbowman. So he's going to go ahead and trade in his misdirection for the flaming arrow, and he's going to keep that card. We're going to go ahead and place his cards down on the board so that we can see them from our angle. So now he's thinking, what does he need to do? Well, he's going to remove his peasant, and he's going to realize that he only gets 1 wood and 1 iron. That doesn't bode well for him, but he still gets all 5 coins because taxes come in no matter if there are people working in the fields or not. So he gets his 5 coins, and now he's thinking, I really need to take out that crossbowman. So he's going to go ahead and first use his action card that says 2 flaming arrows he gets for free. So he's going to claim 2 flaming arrows and put them in his resource pool. Then he's going to go ahead and say, hey, I declare an attack on the blue player. And he's going to attack with 1 flaming arrow. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is that this flaming arrow should have been discarded after use. He's going to have to discard his flaming arrow as well. Now, the red player gets 5 attack dice, and the blue player gets 4 defense dice, because that is a tier 2 ranged unit. So the red player is going to roll first, and he's going to go ahead and get a really strong 6 points. And he's excited about that. Let's scoot them off to the side, and let's see what the blue player will get. Now, the blue player has gotten only 4. So the blue player ended up losing his crossbowman after all. And so he takes his bowman, removes him from battle, and the red player gets 4 craft points. He's super excited about that. That was an incredible battle, but the red player came out on top in that specific instance. He's going to go ahead and spend 2 coins right away, get 1 coin back, so that he can also get his peasant back. Not the peasant that was captured by the blue player, no. That peasant is going to stay with the blue player all the way till the end of the game, where the blue player will be able to claim that as an extra objective point. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed watching this game unfold. As you can see, the red player is not doing that great, but he does have a strong presence on the battlefield, and the blue player is just starting to get his pieces in order. And I think that he's probably going to get more than 1 soldier his next turn. But for now, that is going to be it. Thank you so much for joining me today on this how to play. As you can see, this is just a playthrough, but there is so much to be had on it. Now, this game does have a lot of rules, and so that is where our rulebook is going to come into play as you play through it. But we've found that once you have learned the game, it only can take somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour and a half to play with a friend, all depending on how many objectives you want to play with. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one.